Section 53 of Counsels and Maxims is the final section of Chapter 4 on worldly fortune, and the subject is courage. Here it is. Courage comes next to prudence as a quality of mind very essential to happiness. It is quite true that no one can endow himself with either, since a man inherits prudence from his mother and courage from his father. Still, if he has these qualities, he can do much to develop them by means of resolute exercise. In this world, where the game is played with loaded dice, a man must have a temper of iron, with armor proof to the blows of fate, and weapons to make his way against men. Life is one long battle. We have to fight at every step. And Voltaire very rightly says that if we succeed, it is at the point of the sword, and that we die with the weapon in our hand. On ne réussit dans ce monde qu'à la pointe de l'épée, et on meurt les armes à la main. One succeeds in this world only at the point of the sword, the épée, and one dies with those weapons in the hand, as Schopenhauer said. It is a cowardly soul that shrinks or grows faint and despondent as soon as the storm begins to gather, or even when the first cloud appears on the horizon. Our motto should be no surrender, and far from yielding to the ills of life, let us take fresh courage from misfortune. Tu ne cede malis, sed contra audentior ito. This is a quote from Virgil from the Aeneid, Book 6. Do not give way to evil, but go still bolder against it. As long as the issue of any matter fraught with peril is still in doubt, and there is yet some possibility left that all may come right, no one should ever tremble or think of anything but resistance. Just as a man should not despair of the weather if he can see a bit of blue sky anywhere. Let our attitude be such that we should not quake even if the world fell in ruins about us. Si fractus illabatur urbis, impavidum ferient ruinae. This is a quote from Horace's Odes 3:3. If the shattered world collapsed, it would strike him fearless, referring to the man of courage. He would be unaffected. He would not collapse or retreat, even if the world were falling down upon him. Our whole life itself, let alone its blessings, would not be worth such a cowardly trembling and shrinking of the heart. Therefore, let us face life courageously and show a firm front to every ill. Quo circa vivite fortes, fortiaque adversis opponite pectora rebus. Schopenhauer gives no footnote for this, so I don't know what the source is for the Latin quote, but it means live strong and set your breast, your pectora, against things that oppose you with courage. Still, it is possible for courage to be carried to an excess and to degenerate into rashness. It may even be said that some amount of fear is necessary if we are to exist at all in the world, and cowardice is only the exaggerated form of it. This truth has been very well expressed by Bacon in his account of terror panicus, and the etymological account which he gives of its meaning is very superior to the ancient explanation preserved for us by Plutarch. He connects the expression with Pan, the personification of nature, and observes that fear is innate in every living thing, and in fact tends to its preservation, but that it is apt to come into play without due cause, and that man is especially exposed to it. The chief feature of this panic terror is that there is no clear notion of any definite danger bound up with it, that it presumes rather than knows that danger exists, and that, in case of need, it pleads fright itself as the reason for being afraid. That's the end of section 53 and the end of chapter 4 of Counsels and Maxims by Schopenhauer. A fascinating passage I'm not familiar with previously about panic terror, terror panicus, as described by Francis Bacon, that connected with this personification of nature, the god Pan, right? Pan, what happens? You feel this panic. Why? This is a sort of terror with no cause. This is fear, the natural fear in each person, but acting without cause, without a sort of objective correlate to inspire it. And it sounds, frighteningly similar to things we might call anxiety in our own day, right? There's no clear notion of any definite danger, and yet we still feel terror. It presumes rather than knows that danger exists. So there's no sort of active intellect of knowledge concluding that there is danger. There's simply this sort of the panic that grips the spirit. And in the end, if we need some cause for being afraid, it is simply the feeling of fright itself, sort of feeding upon itself. So this idea here that there is this kind of fear, which maybe is a necessary part of human condition to keep us alive, but which can be carried to an excess in certain cases. And this meditation upon this panic terror described by Bacon, I think quite interesting. The rest of the section really just about the nature of courage, no surrender, right? Face things, though the heavens fall, let us face all things with resolute courage. As long as there's any chance of success, we should not despair or give up. So good, solid advice, I think, for dealing with worldly fortune by Arthur Schopenhauer. We will turn to the beginning of the final chapter of this book titled The Ages of Life in the next video. Thanks for watching today. Goodbye.